Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Briggs and Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. This week, I brought on Tracey Jazmine. She is a business coach, a lifelong entrepreneur, and just a well-rounded human being who has a lot of insight into building the confidence that we need as human beings to live the life that we dream of. And I truly don't mean that with that fluff and sort of cheesiness. She has actually done the work, put in the time, and has the results to prove it. So, Tracey and I spoke about her sort of breaking away from home at the early age of 17 with not much of a role model parent figure in her life to guide her. She was first interested in finance, and in fact, she went to school to study finance. But then in her first role, she started to figure out that what she was initially interested in may not actually align with her passions in life. She took life into her own hands and started to build a life that she truly wanted, and one that connected to her soul, her interests, and her passions, which has now created this beautiful life that she feels really rooted in. This episode uncovers a lot about what business coaching has to offer, entrepreneurship, the importance of a mentor and being a mentor, navigating identity crises and those ups and downs in our life as we try to make those pivots in our careers. There's so much that we can gain from this episode. Tracey, thank you for joining me. I hope you all enjoy.
Perfect.
So I know it's like family time in the evening. So I'm really, really grateful that you
That's cool.
agreed to doing this at this time. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Tracey Jazmine. I'm so excited to be here. I am a holistic business coach, and you're probably wondering what the heck that means. Essentially, I specialize in neuroscience, spirituality, and strategy when it comes to supporting women in just breaking through all the ceilings that we put on ourselves, breaking through all of the strategies, and truly helping them grow businesses that are going to give them the clients that they want, the income that they want, and then because of that, all of the fulfillment, all of the flexibility, all of the finances, all of those, core things that we really want when it comes to living this beautiful life, right? That's why we're in business, is for the freedom.
Ah, amazing. What the heck and why the heck did you even dip your toe into this crazy world of entrepreneurship business? It's like this concept that's hard to find a tangible thing to attach it to. So, how did you find yourself into this pathway?
Yeah, I actually got fired, and that's exactly what got me down this pathway. I was sending out resumes on my work computer when I was 22 years old, and my boss at the time, he called me in and he was like, "You are living, breathing, like sleeping photography girl. You need to go be a photographer. By the way, you're also fired because I saw you sending out resumes on the work computer." Oops.
No.
Yeah, I was just like capital F, and also thanks for your advice, but no thanks, because I was 22. I knew everything, right? And I was like, thanks for your advice, but you can't make money being a photographer. Jerry,
Hmm.
which is his name. I like thank him so much. He was the best. He was the pivot. He was the
Right.
big like wake up call, and he goes, not with that mindset, you can't. Now I'm a freaking mindset coach.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was wild. That is what sent me into it. Anybody who knows me well knows, give me a good challenge, I'm your girl. I'm that person who's like, oh, you think I can't do it? Watch. I will do it. And so that just sparked everything in me. And I was like, okay, well, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to give it a whirl. Got a mundane job as an exec assistant and like went for it. Do you have a heartbeat? I will take your photo. Do you have a heartbeat? I will also take your photo. And that's how I truly got into it. It's how it all started. I knew nothing about running a business. Nobody in my entire world was an entrepreneur. I literally just like jumped in and totally winged it. 1 year later, I went full time.
What would you say has would be the biggest thing that allowed you to succeed? Do you think it was your work ethic, your enthusiasm, your actual talent and skills behind the camera? Do you think it was a blend of all of that? If you had to sort of narrow it down, at least to the first few months or year to what propelled the success and then got you going, what would you narrow it down to if you could?
Yeah, one thing is trust. I had to trust myself. There's nobody out there who was going to believe in me and trust me before I did it myself, right? That was the very first thing. If you're walking up to someone and you can tell they don't have that energy and they're like, oh, yeah, so I, do this thing. And you can tell they don't have that confidence, that trust, that belief in themselves. It's really hard to want to buy what they're selling. Right. And so every time I got knocked off my pedestal, I don't know how to do this. Oh my God, here's another exponential learning curve as there are in the entrepreneurial world. Every single time I had to come back to like, I trust myself to make this happen. I trust myself to learn this. I trust myself to figure this out. Like we're all that as entrepreneurs. We just figure it out. We just,
Mm,
oh, I just figured it out. I just like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And like, we're just like naturally, obviously problem solvers or we wouldn't have a business, but it always comes back to like trusting yourself to like figure it out every time.
so then let's jump back a little bit to pre Tracy as a holistic business coach. You as a sort of high school kind of university or sort in that age, whether you went there or not, where did you think your life was going to take you? What did you have ideas?
Oh, I had ideas. I was going to be a financial investor, was going to be a bazillionaire, all of the dreams and goals. That's what I was actually doing when I got fired is I was working on climbing the ladder to become a financial investor. I love numbers, still do, always have. Love saving, love investing, watching numbers grow. I just like watching shit grow, whether it's money or women or my plants. That's just what I love.
I'm dead. It's simple as that.
That's it.
Don't
That's all I'm
understand
looking
why
for.
people have to complicate it. It's plants, women, and money.
I gotta make that my new signature on my website, Briggs.
Oh, bless. That was funny. Okay, and then so then did you have any extracurriculars, any communities and groups and clubs that you were a part of that kind of forced you into this, or not forced you, but influenced this mindset, this determination that you had? Because it sounds like there might be a sports background, but maybe not. I could be making that
Oh
up.
my God, hell no. I have
No. Okay.
zero sports background. I was a person who everything I started, I quit. Growing up as a kid, didn't matter if it was dance or
Right.
sparks or brownies or any of those things. I never followed through on any of them. Bless my parents for spending way too much money. Figure skating, sat on the ice and cried. Yeah, yeah, awesome kid. Anyway, it really came back to actually fierce independence. So I moved out when I was 17 and I didn't have any support from parents or financial backing. Like I had nothing. It was just me, myself, and I. And so I realized when I moved out that like I was truly on my own. Like yes, I had friends. Yes, I had my boyfriend at the time and like his parents and my grandma, but I really didn't have very many people. So I had to rely on me. Like I knew at that point so young that like I had to take responsibility for the life that I wanted. It was truly up to me. And I think that's genuinely one of the biggest things that's like pushed me here today is I've always been willing to take responsibility for where I'm at, what I have, what I achieve, where I go, all of those pieces.
Totally.
Yeah.
Was there any other learning lessons came pre Jerry? Was there any crazy stories that kind of flicked a switch like that moment there, or was that really the like set in stone one that you can remember?
I was probably like the one that like switched me into entrepreneurship, but to get back into photography, I grew up in a really small hometown, moved to Ottawa, which was like a 4-hour drive, yada yada. I devoted and vowed I am packing up my camera because I used to take photos like here and there for like friends and family and like that was it. And I was like, I'm packing this thing up, like I'm never touching it ever again. Like disgusted by this camera. And so, long story short, I get to Ottawa, and then somebody in the friend group finds out that Tracey does photography and she has a really nice camera. And I'm finally convinced I actually do like it. I was actually really excited about it. And then that's when it like went into that like eating, sleeping, breathing photography on the evenings, on the weekends, on my lunch break. I have my laptop out. Like that's when Jerry was like, what are you doing here? Like you hate it. I hated it.
Okay, fantastic. I I love the colors that have been painted, the visuals that were painted there. You are fierce, you came from fierce independence, and you really started to plant that seed of entrepreneurship, business obsession, if you will, pretty young, like early 20s. Did you catch on to any other jobs prior to being solely on your own, working as an entrepreneur, in the 20s that you want to mention, or were they?
I was just your typical like bounce around from like, hostess, like those sort of like typical service jobs. And then I went to school for photojournalism, dropped out 3 months in. Parents were also pissed. Good. Because they bought all of the things. I was like, I went on a scholarship, guys. Like, you don't even have to pay for anything except for like 5 grand in camera gear. It was fine. Everything's fine. So they're like, what are you going to do with your life? So I literally worked at Shoppers Drug Mart for a year, saved up every single ounce. If they had bonus hours for me to work, I'll be the cashier, I'll be the makeup girl, I'll be whoever you need me to be, just so I could put myself through school to go to like school for accounting.
Mm,
Majored in that, did a, what do you call, like a placement in it, hated it. All you do is push around paper. I'm like, I'm
mm,
a people person. I need to be with the people. So then I thought, well, finance, that's great. You don't actually get to help people with their finances until like many years into that. So that's kind of like where all of those back pieces started. So my first job really was like in Ottawa, really was that like job in the financial industry. And it's crazy how it came to be. I went to a cottage because all of my plans got canceled with all my friends. I was pissed. My sister's 14 years older says, come to this cabin. And I'm like, ugh, fine. That's going to be you and all your old friends. She's the age that I am now when she said that. Yeah, bless me. And long story short, I went there and I already had it on my heart and mind. I really wanted to work at Investors Group. Why? I don't know. That's just where I
mm.
was told. So long story short, she says, there's these two guys driving this camper van from Vancouver all the way to Ottawa, and they're gonna get here this weekend. So we get to like meet more friends. And I'm like, cool. Riveting.
Yeah.
Like, woo. Anyways, this guy comes, and lo and behold, his mom works for Investors Group in Ottawa, the city that I am moving to, and they're looking for an assistant. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Got the job. All of that happened. Like, it's like the butterfly effect.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was very weird.
totally. So then what made you go from Ottawa to out west? Because now you're located out west.
Yes.
Talk to me about like that situation, when that happened in your life, and then what you did when you moved out west and started to build your following and what you're focusing on now.
Yeah. So moving out west, I always wanted to move out west, and I had a month off in wedding season, which is like unheard of. Like
Right.
that's just like weird. And I had a friend over and I was like, what do I do in this month? Like May. What do I like? I don't know. I feel like I should
Mm.
like live my life a little. And she was like, go on a road trip. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. And she's like, cool, you should drive across Canada. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna do it. Drove across Canada.
Just alone?
Just
You
alone.
just were like,
By
okay,
myself. Drove from
journey of the self.
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of things that happen when you have that much quiet time with yourself. And it's like windows down, windows up, hot, cold, music on, music off. It's a lot. But I drove from Ottawa all the way to Vancouver, did a stop in Whistler, and then did a stop in Kelowna. And I was sort of like
Mm.
sussing out where I wanted to move. It was always BC for me. Love the mountains, loved all those things. And so I was kind of trying to figure out all of these pieces and went back home. Long story short, I was like, you know what? I think it's Kelowna. Like it's hot, weddings are there. Like this just aligns so perfectly.
Because at this time, being a wedding photographer, or what was the importance around what? Okay, fantastic.
So when I started my career, I did everything. If you had a heartbeat, I would photograph you. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I love love. This is so magical. I'm going to focus on that. So I focused on that. And then when I was like, okay, I'm going to move to Kelowna, changed all my SEO, changed my website, changed everything. Long story short, go out there. I'm on vacation. And have you ever floated the Penticton Channel, the like
Yeah,
lazy river? So
yeah.
there I am. And then I meet someone and I end up liking this someone. So I
What
move.
a curveball.
I know, like, damn it. Like, I just want to go to Kelowna. Damn it. So anyway, end up in Edmonton where that person was from. That slowly but surely didn't work out. And so then I decided to stick around and stay. But in that time when I moved here, I understood SEO. I understand building relationships. Those are the base, like, well, building relationships at least is the basis of building a business. That is the only thing that I focused on for 6 months. I gave myself 6 months. Either you're making money in your business or you're like going to work at Starbucks, girl. Like, whatever you can get, you're getting. And I like crushed it. I ended up shooting so many sessions for free, putting them in my SEO, build that up. The hashtag YEG women, YEG entrepreneurs, YEG whatever. I went down every single post. I clicked on every single one. If I vibed with who that person was, I started following them. I'd comment on their stuff. I shit you not. I treated every single person like it was like a Tinder date. Like, I just want to like get to know who you are. What's your vibe? Da, da, da. That's how I met the first people. Then I met the people from there, and their people from there, and their people from there. And like, Instagram has truly been such a source for me when I
Yeah.
moved to because I knew nobody, not a single soul.
Good. So, okay, because that gift of networking, communicating, and branching out to other individuals isn't something that everyone has, do you have a tool, a tactic, advice for somebody that might be listening that is like, that is awesome. I love that you were able to do that, connect the dots and connect with a community. But I am scared to do that. I don't know really how to do that. How do you break down the mental blocks that we create in ourselves that really restrict us from experiencing these wonderful things that you were able to experience?
Yeah, the number one thing is stop believing your thoughts. Stop believing them, because you've got 90,000 thoughts in a day. And I'm going to tell you about 90% of those are lies, right? Fear, it's not tangible. It's not real, right? It's always made up in our mind. And so a tool that I love using with my clients is asking yourself, like, is that thought true? I notice I'm having the thought that I don't know, someone's going to judge me if or they're going to think I'm dumb if I reach out and I say like, oh, hi Briggs, it's so nice to like meet you on the internet, like,
Mm-hmm.
as we awkwardly do. They're going to think
Mm-hmm.
I'm so dumb. Okay, well, I know sometimes I thought that Briggs is going to think I'm dumb. Okay, well, so what? All right, like, really talking yourself through that. Like, is that actually true? Well, I don't know. We don't know until we do it.
And would you say that that is perhaps the tool that was at least one of the most important tools, traits that got you to where you are, is your ability to connect like that and your ability to like just not give a shit and be who you are and reach out to people, make the first like introduction? Would you say that that's probably the most important thing, or the strongest trait that you carry that allowed you to get to where you are today? Or is there other sort of traits that you think encapsulate why you are where you are today?
Yeah, I feel like it's honestly the best tool. Nobody is born this way, right? Confidence is something we have to build. Belief is something that we have to build. Trust in ourselves is something that we have to build. We have to practice it. I built it. I practiced. I built and I practiced. I built and I practiced because I understood that was the foundation for me making every other move. I
Mm,
wasn't going to act if I didn't have confidence or belief or trust in myself, right? Or believe I was worthy of it. That's another big one. If I didn't have those four things, that foundation within myself, there's no way I'm reaching out to anybody about anything. Not a chance in hell, right?
mhm.
So it wasn't that like, just who I am thing. It was a practice. It was a tool that I used all the time where I would like really assess like what was being populated in this damn brain of mine and just being like, okay, is this real? Like, in the eyes of God in the universe, is there a little
Mm.
soul up there that's like, Tracey shall not? No, no.
What are your thoughts on, because this is actually a personal question of mine, I guess, and hopefully listeners will be able to relate as well, on attaching yourself too much to labels, to um what you think other people know you as. And so if you did anything different than that, it would be not on par with what you're known to be, kind of thing. Like switching careers or taking on a new extracurricular or moving or whatever it is, like pivoting in one way, shape, or form. If it seems daunting because you're worried about the labels that are attached, do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, I've done it twice. I went from wedding photography to brand photography. That was weird. Went from brand photography to coaching. Photography was my identity since I was literally 17. I was a photographer. And so there's actually a grief that was associated with it when I fully left that title behind, when I left that label behind. People are like, "You're not a photographer anymore?" And I was like, "No, I'm a coach." And they're just like, "What the heck?" And so
Right.
something that I always remember is the only people that are ever going to judge me are the ones who aren't willing to do it themselves. Everybody else is so in my corner. Everybody
Hmm.
else is curious, cheering me on. And it's interesting. I've had a lot of people say, I actually unfollowed you and you became a coach because I was like, oh God, like here we go. Just so I'm going to be a coach now. And I had to remember, like, do I care more about what they think or do I care more about what I think? I'm here to make an impact. I know I can do it. I know that I have the skill set, the tools, like I have everything to make a massive ripple effect in the world. But Susie over here is questioning, damn it, Karen, is over here questioning me. And so I can either let her opinion and thoughts and judgment guide the rest of my life or not. And like it was always the opposite. I've always been that rebel at heart. I've always been the person who like beats to her own drum. If you're just like, yeah, you can't do it, I'm like, well, I'll show you. Right. There's always been that energy behind it. And like, you should do business this way. And I'm like, that doesn't really work for me. Like, I've just always been the challenger.
Right. And so when you're working with clients, because I want to start to get into, I want listeners to really know what you do, what you excel in, and I want to give you time to even clarify that. Because I think for people that, because I have a lot of listeners that like are business, what the heck is that? Entrepreneurship, what the heck is that? So if you can kind of explain what you offer, what you specialize in, what you maybe even the best way to approach this is like who comes to you, what do they need, and what do you do to transition them or to take them, from where they are to where you want to get them, and how do they graduate from working with you, or if they continue to work with you forevermore, what do they look like coming out the other side?
Yeah, so many questions. Okay, people that are coming to me, I'm just like, okay, da, 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 da. Let me organize those in my head first.
Right.
The women that are coming to me are established entrepreneurs. They're not typically in like the new side of things. They know what's going on. They've typically made a few $1,000s. They've got a business going, like things are moving, but they're starting to realize like it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. And so, yeah, that's our signature phrase. If you're in my world, it's like, uh-oh, it's me. Hi. So they're typically coming in at that stage. And so they're either wanting to, like in the Evolving Entrepreneur program that I offer, it's a group program. They're coming in and they're ready to like, they really want to hit that like six figures. They want to gain more clients. They want to 2 times or 3 times their income. They really just want to like get to that next level and they want to do it without burning themselves out, right? It's like, how do I have success without sacrifice? Like, how do I do that? Seems
Because I
impossible.
would say, can I budget? Like, do you find that it's like side hustles turned into somebody that's trying to make a full-time living out of it, or what, like who, you know what I mean? What scale are they at when they come in? You
Yeah.
said they're
Sometimes
making.
Yeah, sometimes it's side hustly, where we still have the 9 to 5 because it makes us really great money and security, and we have spouses and kids and all of these things we got to take into consideration. And sometimes the person is just gone full time and they're like in that 50, 60, 70 range, and they're like, I really just want to get to that next level. Like I really just want to like make this happen. I want this to be my full time thing. I want freedom. I want freedom of all the things, right? Financially and time. Time is our greatest asset when it comes to this world. It's the most
Mm,
precious, precious thing. And then with one-on-one, they have the successful business. They've hit the six figures. They've done that. But now they're like, okay, how do I maximize this? How do I streamline this? How do I scale this? How do I pivot? How do I like bring in more sources of income? Maybe they're opening a second location. Maybe they're bringing in a really like big offer. Like I've had so many people do like wild, wild things, but they've already been successful where they're at. And those women, no trust and belief in themselves.
mm,
They've got all of that kind of going on already. So mindset's actually a little bit less for the one-on-one client. For the evolving entrepreneur client, it's a lot more like about building of trust and safety and belief and whatnot in yourself. And then the one-on-one client is like, okay, yes, I see those pieces. And like mindset always comes up for all of us. We're just a bunch of
totally,
onions over here.
totally.
But they really are like, okay, how am I scaling? How I want to pivot? I want to go to the next level, whatever that next level is for them. For a lot of them, it is opening a first location, sometimes a second. Sometimes it means like stepping into being that true CEO where I'm like not doing the work anymore. I'm like the visionary and I'm but like that's hard. You have to let go of like this baby that you've grown and just trust these people to grow it for you. And you just over here being the CEO, you're not, micromanaging everything. So that's where they're kind of coming in at. And then what I do is when it comes to whatever they're coming in for, it's typically very similar, like more clients, more income, more time freedom. Let's be real. That's all kind of what we're looking for, right?
Mm.
So when we're coming
Yeah.
in at that point, the very first thing that I do, obviously, they have their questionnaires and onboarding and all of that stuff. So I get to know them. And then from there, I listen. And I know it sounds so like simple, but the more that a woman speaks and talks to me, being trained in neurolinguistics, which is the language of the mind, right? Language of the brain, the more I can see what's going on for them. And so I'm like, okay, tell me more. And I'll ask clarifying questions and like, oh, okay, I'm curious about this. Okay, so then you said that, but then you also said this. And so helping them really start to see what's
Like
going
connecting
on.
dots. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like all clients be like, yeah, I'm so burnt out. Like I really need help with time management. And I'm like, you don't need help with time management. I love you, but it's probably more rooted in boundaries and self-respect and self-worth and self-love, right? Like, why are you willing to say yes to all of these things and bring yourself out, right? Like there's things in there. So things that come back to like when I'm listening to what they're saying, I'm using all my skills in psychology to listen for their thoughts and beliefs, to the identity that they hold for themselves, to what they believe is possible for their business and in the world. I am listening to their emotions and like whether they're saying, I hear, I think, I feel, I know, I worry. I'm like listening to all of those like verbs that they're giving to me and like watching their actions. So, what have you done to get here? So, what is working for you? What isn't working for you? What do you already know? What do you like know that you should be doing, but you're not doing? And when I take all of that information in, I am essentially making like a hypothesis as a little scientist over here.
Right, right, right.
What's going on for her, right? Because my goal as a coach is to get to the very root cause of what's going on for you in the mindset world, right? This is just like mindset only. Then there's always going to be the strategic pieces, right? So like mindset, yeah, we have to practice it. We have to repeat it. Repetition is how you're going to like rewire your whole beautiful brain to
Mm.
step into that next level, right? It's got to grow for you to get to that next like material level that you love. And then the other side is the strategy, right? Strategically building a business that is aligned for them.
I was gonna say, I feel like
Tracy did it.
the strategy component is where I feel like, do you come in to assist with building that strategy? Because without strategy, and maybe you can convince me otherwise, I just feel like it's in the air. Like for me at least, I am a strategist, so I need to see what the plan, the map, the micro and macro, how we're going to get from A to B kind of thing, to make sure I have control, or at least feel like I have control, because we all know that the environment has some crazy ways of working. Um, but I would love to see and ask you about strategy, and how you work with your clients on building that out. Do you give them the space to create them themselves, or do you work with them to build it?
A little bit of both. So the magic here is on our very first call, if you're in the one-on-one coaching or the evolving entrepreneur, doesn't matter. We do a hypnosis. So we really tap into like your subconscious. And so not hypnosis where you're like dancing on the stage like a chicken. You're just like in a very trance, like relaxed state. And so it allows you to just like shut off your logic for a minute. Because a lot of us like that logic will convince us that we can't do it. It's like, okay, Briggs, what are your big dreams and goals? And you're like, and it's like rationalized, justified, it's like safe, right? So closing down our eyes and we like really get in this space, I allow them to just like, I want to hear everything. Like in your Disneyland movie screen, Hallmark movie girl,
Yeah, yeah.
what do you want? What do you actually want? Because like when was the last time somebody asked you, like, what do you actually want? Never.
Mm.
Right. And so giving them the permission to ask for what they actually want. From there, now we're starting to see the goals actually like come through and those like strategic pieces. So now we have the big vision. Perfect. Now we're taking that big vision and we're breaking it down into all of these micro goals of how are we getting from A to B. Then we're taking all of those goals and we're breaking those down farther and farther and farther and farther and farther as well. So they have the action steps that they can start taking right off of the first call. So you've got that like big, huge strategy, and then you've got the, little tiny steps to get there too. Like you said, knowing that things may change. And then from there, we're like, when we're building everything out, it's all aligned to you. It's not
Mm.
some cookie cutter thing of like somebody else in your industry wants to do this and they've already done it. So you should do that too. Never. It's always like, what do you think? What do you feel? And so when we're breaking things down, this is the beauty of the women that I work with. I'm like, what do you know already that you could be doing to get there? And it's like, oh, here's the
Right.
16 things. And you're just like, of course. And then that's when I pull in my business strategizing brain of like, okay, strategically, here's what else we could do, and here's what else we could do, and here's what else we could do. And so we start just like getting all of those ideas going of sales, marketing, branding. Like I used to be a brand photographer. So that whole world of like messaging, marketing, branding, and sales, easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's all
Mm,
about relationships. It's all about
mm.
connection. It's all about psychology, which are like my three favorite things. So
Question for you.
yeah.
I'm trying to put myself in like a case study of, say I am starting a like fitness studio, or yeah, say fitness studio. Okay. Play along with me because I'm just doing a little case study here because I know some listeners might be interested in like playing along with a character role, whatever. I started to do it online, only doing it kind of from my house. Did some live Zoom calls, blah, 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 built a little community. And then maybe I started renting out a hall or renting out a space, and they would come physically into and then from there, it's like a couple years goes on, you've really built the community and you start to invest in a physical space. But you almost just feel like you are getting paid paying a bill, getting paid paying a bill. Like, and you cannot see where, even though more people are coming into the studio or into your classes, you just can't see where that exponential growth is going to happen without, again, like you mentioned before, burning yourself out. By you have to teach, you might have one other person assisting you with the teaching, and then you're supposed to go make these connections somewhere outside of the studio, but you should be physically there teaching, so I'm just trying to get like a play by play, not even a play by play, but a realistic sort of case study of how you might come in and guide to make that sort of leap from where they're currently experiencing like this kind of just wall. They've hit like just a wall and they don't know how to get over the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is like the beauty. I don't know if you're into the world of human design. I'm a projector, and so I'm able to kind of like see things at a bigger scale. So the first question I would ask that person is like, how is this all a problem for you? Right. And it's like, well, I'm trying to scale this and I need to be making all these connections, but I also need to be teaching. Right. And so it's like, let's look at cash flow. Let's look at, can you afford to bring somebody in? Let's look at your time. Are you using it well? Do you need to actually leave the studio to make connections? Can you be building it online? What are your reels doing? What is
Mm.
your social
I
media
think
doing?
can you build it online is actually such an important little component as well, because that is such a good tool. Like, we have online at our disposal right now, and making organic connections, you're a perfect example of that. It can really be impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. But we look at like all areas, right? We're looking at your time. We're looking at how you're spending it. We're looking at your cash flow. We're looking at like what's possible financially. What are you not leveraging? How are you leveraging it well? Like what's going on for you there? Like sometimes it's not that you need more leads. You've got 10,000 followers, let's say. I'm like, okay, you
Mm,
don't need more leads, but you're having a hard time converting those people to coming to your space. So is it that it doesn't feel inviting? They don't know you well enough yet. Right? Like it's all psychology, which is my
mm,
absolute favorite thing. Right. So we're really starting to understand like what's going on for these people. Why are they not converting into coming to your gym as opposed to like, oh, they're all going to this one instead? And that's like, okay, why? Well, maybe it just feels different when they go there. Right. Like I just recently left one gym for another one. Why?
totally.
Because I actually want the workouts from the old gym that I was at. I love them. I sweat my ass off. Everything is great. I feel like I'm just welcome there. There's all ages, shapes, and sizes. It's just, I feel so at home there. And the energy is like great. The things that the other studio had, I didn't really like need or care about. And I wasn't getting the workout that I wanted. So that's what it came down to, right? It wasn't anything else. And so ask your people, the people like, have you thought about coming to XYZ gym? Yeah, I have. Oh, I'm curious. Like, why have you not? Oh,
Yeah.
the investment's really outside of my budget right now. Okay, perfect. Now we can start we got somewhere to like run with now, right? When you start getting those answers from people. And so it's really just
Yeah.
like digging into all the areas. Maybe we realize this person isn't like spending their time very well. Maybe
Yeah.
they're in the wrong rooms, right? Maybe they're
Yeah.
not networking with the right people. Like there's just so many different like pieces of it. And this is where it's like overwhelmed. Like,
Exactly.
oh my
Do
God.
you realistically give sort of your clients like in 6 months you'll start to come up for air, in a year, or is it literally just like you'll start to see this eventually kind of thing, depending on the individual, the business, all of that stuff?
Yeah, there's always those like, I can't guarantee anything, but this is the difference. When you come into coaching, you have to be willing to be that person who's going to commit to get the ROI and the results that you want, right? If you're coming in being like, Tracey's going to save me, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. Can I guarantee you that anything's going to happen overnight? No, it depends on the hurdle that we're looking at, right? It might be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't touched my social media in a year. You have a whole like audience there that has been spoken to in a year, right? And like that's a very common reality.
Yeah.
It's like,
And it is.
oh,
And it probably is because they're wearing too many hats. And social media for some people is the thing that goes first because they're maybe that's realistic because you have built like you have physical things that you need to take care of and the device is something that you're not on. Um I just want to say, like, kudos, congratulations. I'm so, like, I haven't even met you in person, but I'm proud of you. Like, for you to go from where you were, building yourself up, and then building the clientele that you have now. And I'm sure that this is sort of what your dream life has looked like because you probably asked yourselves the questions that you ask your clients. It is something to really be proud of when you can create the life that you dreamed of. And it sounds like that's exactly kind of what you did and what you're doing right now. Um, I want to just ask what your life looks like as a business coach, because I think um, there's a lot of people out there that do have those leadership roles, the coaching roles, um, and might actually even learn from just not you coaching other people, but you doing how you balance your day-to-day life and how you run your business. So talking a little bit more about you, if you wouldn't mind, like,
totally.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the word balance is very fictitious and it's elusive, a bit of an elusive unicorn for a lot of us. And this is where, again, I challenge you to take every single word in the English dictionary and question it and redefine it for yourself. What is success really? What is freedom? What does it look like for you personally? So for me, balance isn't really about 50-50. It's about like integrating everything, and everything is like flowing and fluid for me, right? I might get inspiration at 8 p.m. Might be inconvenient, might work out. We don't know, depends on the day, right? So being able to like take that, and if I can't like go and do what I'd want to do at 8 p.m. because it just isn't making sense, knowing that I can trust myself to come back to that inspiration, it's going to be there. It's not going to go anywhere, right? We feel like these moments are so like, oh, fleeting. And then two, how are you spending your time? Really focusing on that is super important. You know where you're wasting time. You know when you're doom scrolling. You know when you're doing all of those things. And so there is a level of like being really, really honest with yourself. Because if you can't be honest with yourself about, how you're spending your time, how you're making everything flow and work out, like you're just gonna stay stuck where you are. Communication is a really big piece of it. If you've got, kids, a spouse, other human beings in your life, you've got to take care of them as well. The biggest thing to remember is that without your cup full, you're going to be giving them a half-ass version of yourself. So that's going to be number one. I think it's the very first thing to go for all women. Let me nurture and serve everybody else and make sure they're all good, and then I'll have a bubble bath. And it's like a bubble bath. That is not self-care. That is such a band-aid, right? And so
Mm,
really making sure that you're pouring into your own cup first. Like there are times I'm telling my spouse, like, I need to be alone right now. I'm sorry, but like that is what I need. And
mm,
he's like, let's just like, hey, we'll sit beside each other. I won't say anything. And I'm like, no, I literally need to physically be in another room for you. Being able to unapologetically ask for the things that you need, right? Like support as an entrepreneur is the number one thing that you're going to need because everything is always evolving and always changing and your needs are just going to be so different like day to day. But when it comes to like how my life rolls and works, like I have my days. Monday and Friday I coach. Wednesdays I have the evolving entrepreneur. I take Thursdays off. I take the weekends off. And then Tuesday's my CEO day. So I have those things like chunked out, but everything is
right.
always fluid, right? Shit comes up.
Yeah.
Life happens. Things like how do you take a vacation then? Right?
Mm,
And so just really like if I'm inspired at Saturday night at 5 p.m., I roll with it.
mm.
right? Instead
Yeah.
of like forcing myself to like fit into these rigid boxes, it doesn't feel good for me.
What are your dreams and aspirations? Do you want to grow what you're currently doing? Are you like where you are right now? Do you think you'll pivot in the future? Or is it hard to say?
I feel like that's one of those questions. If you asked me at 22 years old if I was going to be a business coach, like working in like neuroscience and, strategy and all these things, I'd be like, you what? Like, sorry? Me? Are you sure? I think you got the wrong person.
Right.
Right? Because I was so just in a totally different world. I could barely believe in myself to take wedding photos. I literally played the song Eminem, You Have One Shot, or whatever that song is. What is that song called? Anyway,
I know that's what I'm thinking of
yeah,
right
I'm
now.
like that Eminem song, like you got one shot. This is your chance. Da 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 da. Yeah, as we bob our heads.
Listening to it, but I can't come up with the words.
I would play that song because I was so nervous before I drove into the driveway of the bride's house. Like, it's so hard. And now I'm like, oh, bless you, girl.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And
But
so,
also crank it up.
yeah. Yeah, also, hey, it worked. It
Yeah,
worked.
exactly.
Yeah.
So is it safe to say then, like, you just look at life for whatever it is right now? Are you a planner? Are you somebody that, you know, thinks of these lofty, crazy things? Or again, do you just look at life for what it is right now?
No, absolutely not. I'm definitely the dreamer. Always going to be the dreamer. I'm that person who loves manifestation. I love the woo side of things. I love, really thinking about like what energy are you putting out there into the world? What are you attracting back in? Like that's so my vibe. Like all the witchy shit, as my spouse says, the tarot cards and the sage and all of that. But I think the more unrealistic your goals are, the more you're going to stretch yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Like when I wanted to pivot from brand photography to coaching, I was in Cuba with my best friend. And I was like, I think I'm supposed to be a business coach. And I'm just like terrified. And she was like, yeah, duh. That totally makes sense. I'm just like, what? Like, where?
Pardon me?
You
This has been 6 months of me
yeah.
losing sleep over saying that out loud.
I was just like, you've already known this? And she was like, oh, like you totally fit all the thing. Like it all makes sense. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, how do you become a business coach? Who's going to take me seriously? Oh my God. Da, 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 all those questions. But like, that's when you grow the most. Like, you're not going to grow with safe goals. Like, you're just not, right? Like, you have to set these like lofty, big things, like shoot for the moon, land on the stars. Like,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not at least try?
And I think this is kind of a little bit off of exactly what we were talking about, but I was talking about I was talking to my dad about this on the weekend, and we were mentioning how it's crazy when you say you have to go to the bathroom and you're like, I'm gonna pee my pants right now. Like I'm peeing my pants right now, but you're in the car and you know you have like 10 minutes to get home. And you literally think you're gonna pee your pants right then and there. But you're able to get 10 minutes down the road to make it 2 minutes into your driveway and then up the stairs and into the bathroom. And so it's like, we were kind of chuckling because how much do we put restrictions on what we're capable of doing? The
Yeah.
time thing, it's like you thought you only had 10 minutes, but actually you had 18 minutes. And it's like you thought you could get to, if it's talking about Instagram, 5,000 followers because that was your dream, but all of a sudden you're at 15,000. Like whatever it is, like these things that we start to assume about ourselves, but then we break those frickin' things when it comes to what we're actually capable of doing. And I think that that's something that I'm always inspired by is like making achievable goals so that when I achieve them, I have that taste, that feeling, that adrenaline rush, that dopamine hit. And then I start to go, whoa, what am I actually capable of really?
Mhm.
And then you kind of crave that. But I think keeping it so that it's tangible, so that you can see it and it's
Yeah.
achievable is also very important.
Yeah.
Um, I've had such a fabulous time picking your brain. Um, and I really, really want all listeners to go follow Tracey, Tracey. Jazmin on Instagram. Is there any other things that you want to share with the listeners as to what you do, what you're up to, what's up and coming on the horizon, anything like that?
Yeah, right now, I mean, in the middle of the launch for the Evolving Entrepreneur, it's my group program. So I do that usually spring and fall. I'll be skipping the fall because I'm getting married, which is very exciting. Yeah, and then one-on-one coaching right now with the hopes of launching a mastermind this fall, hopefully a retreat that is built into that mastermind. You know, as we do as business owners, we have about 65 new ideas all circling around. It would be the Evolving Entrepreneur. So if you're under that 100K mark, that would be the perfect program for you. You can join literally in March for next year. So it spaces out everything. You get a nice extended payment plan. It's just awesome because I also love like when someone joins to give them something right away. So I also offer bonus coaching every single month when you join ahead of time, or there's the one-on-one coaching if you're really to move past that like 6 figures and scale and grow and pivot and step into the CEO you want to be.
That is so cool. You can't take your own wedding photos. Do you know who you're gonna hire for your wedding?
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It was like the easiest decision. My fiance was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Never been more sure of any decision in my entire life, other than maybe like saying yes to you."
But does it feel like a dream planning your wedding now after being involved in them when you were younger?
In the beginning, it did not at all. I was just like, "Oh, I've seen it all. I've been to it all. I've like, none of it is inspiring to me. Like, none of it." So it was really hard in the beginning to figure out what I actually wanted. I thought I was really clear on that. Definitely wasn't. We have pivoted about 16 times. Bless the bless our photographer for just being like, okay, yeah, okay, we're following. Oh. Anyway, we are pretty dead set on it. I won't share just what it is just yet, but it's when it comes to like everything in life, you
Yeah.
really have to think about what you actually want and like don't settle for anything less, right? The
Mm,
power of your mind, like you were just kind of chatting about, you truly can have anything that you want. If it comes to your mind, it's there for a reason, not because you can't achieve it. You just haven't figured out how yet.
yeah. I love that. It's not a matter of if, it's how is how I
When?
like I like to say how,
Yeah.
just because when is like, well, bullshit. It's how. How are you gonna do that? Um, that's just what I've always kind of said in my brain when I'm looking at staring down something that's a little too daunting for me. Um, Tracy, thank you so much. I really do appreciate everything that you're gifting women and really the community that follows you. I hope to see nothing but growth and good things coming your way because you truly deserve it. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah, of course. Kate, take care of yourself.
Yeah. You too. Bye.
Bye. That's a wrap on another episode of Briggs and Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. I hope you all enjoyed that episode. Hopefully, you pulled some inspiration, motivation, maybe a couple hacks, tools, and tricks along the way. If you liked the episode, please give it a share with friends and family, just out into the universe. I would really appreciate it because that's the only way this show will grow. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations on guests that I should bring on, please message me at Briggs underscore and underscore co underscore, or send me an email admin@briggsandco.ca. So much love to you all. Take care of yourselves. Ciao for now.